This is O the Realtor. I am here with my good friend Dina Parla with Guaranteed Rate Affinity.
That's right.
Right? Make sure I got it right. No, this is my partner here. We play pickleball together.
We do.
She is an awesome loan officer. Anybody who knows of her here in New Jersey knows how awesome she is. And I'm just happy to be sitting here with her today to talk about what's going on in real estate and mortgages and so on. So, Dina, how are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming through. We're in a beautiful park over here in Bloomfield. So right now the market is interesting, as most people would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, to say the least. Home buyers, home sellers. We all have a very interesting market going on. As an agent, we are often in our own bubble. But I want to make sure I provide some quality content for home buyers, home sellers. But today I want to talk about buyers, particularly first-time buyers. So, Dina, right now the word on the street is all about interest rates, right?
Yes.
So what are you hearing as far as interest rates, and particularly the change since last year? What have you seen on your side with interest rates and buyer interest and so on?
Well, I mean, as you know, the rates have gone up.
You got that right.
Since last year. They started to tick up last year. Probably, I want to say like a year ago, it was kind of in the sixes.
Okay.
I think. I don't remember. I'm trying to like...
It's a blur, right?
Yeah, it's a blur. It's a blur. And I feel like a lot of the buyers out there last year, they were kind of used to the lower rates.
Yeah.
So a lot of them, when the rates ticked up, they fell off.
Right.
They either didn't qualify anymore, or they got freaked out and they wanted to wait for the market to crash,
Right.
which, as we know, did not happen.
Did not happen. Probably not going to
So
happen.
now the people that are out here, the rates are still in the sixes, higher sixes. But the buyers now, they know what the rates are. And I don't have a lot of pushback from the people that are applying.
Okay.
The people are applying, they know that the rates are not great.
Right.
And they know they can refi. So they're not, I don't have a lot of pushback from the rates now. The people know what the rates are, and they've come to terms with it.
Come to terms with what's going on.
Right. So,
Okay.
I mean, I still think there's a lot of buyer demand. I still have a lot of people applying, and it's still a seller's market, I think, because there's not a lot of inventory.
Right.
My buyers, are up against several, multiple offer situations.
Absolutely.
Still, like, nothing's really changed in that aspect. It's
Yeah.
just a different group of buyers. Like I said, buyers that know what the rates are.
That know what it is, and
Yeah.
they're prepared for just a whole different world than what it was early 2022.
For sure.
Okay. So a lot of times with I come across buyers. Some are pre-approved, some are not. So in general, what do buyers need to have when they're going when they want to get pre-approved? What do they need to have when they come to the table and they meet you?
Yeah, so the first thing they need to do when they're getting pre-approved is apply online.
Okay.
There's an application online. It takes your social, your date of birth, 2 years work history, 2 years residential history, all that kind of stuff. What we offer in my company is a soft pull, an option for a soft pull for their credit.
Okay.
This is really good for people that are a little worried about getting their credit pulled. They're not sure if now is a great time to buy, but they want to entertain it.
Okay.
Maybe somebody that's gotten pre-approved already, but their agent has said, try my lender.
Yeah.
So these are all good reasons to get a soft pull. But after the application process, it takes about 15 minutes to fill out the application.
Okay.
I usually request documentation from them as well.
Okay.
It's usually 2 years of W-2s
2 years
or
W-2.
taxes if you're self-employed.
Okay.
1 month of pay stubs, 2 months of bank statements
Okay.
from any accounts you plan to use for down payment and closing costs.
Okay.
And once I have all that, then I could do the pre-approval.
Okay. So typically in a day or two.
Yeah,
We can
tops. I mean, it
find out.
depends on the buyer and how responsive they are to my requests.
Okay.
So if they apply quickly, give me the documents, I mean, we can have a turnaround time in 24 hours
Okay.
of a pre-approval.
And that speaks a lot to a motivated buyer versus a non-motivated buyer.
Agreed.
I think that a lot of times people will say they want to buy a home, but you have to be prepared to submit these documents in a timely manner. And on my side as a realtor, sometimes people are like, "Oh, I'm ready to buy," and they want to start to go look at houses and stuff like that. I'm
but
like,
they don't want to do the work
they don't want.
to be able to look for a house.
Absolutely, and
Yeah.
that's such a great point. I mean, the work it takes to really get a house is more than just going to look.
Exactly.
At the
That's
house.
the easy part.
Right. Exactly. That's the easy and the fun part, quote
Right.
unquote. But yeah, you have to get the documentation in. It's so important to actually get the documentation in timely and the correct documentation, and have a good working relationship with your loan officer. And
Right.
as a realtor, we don't obviously force clients to work with our preferred lender, but we try to at least introduce them and make sure that they do meet our preferred lender, such as Dina, because the communication is the biggest thing. So what do you find? Do you find that you have some buyers that they're just not communicating when it comes to getting everything in or understanding?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good mix. I have some buyers that are just really on top of it, and they're motivated, right? They get
Right.
you the documents, and then there's some that are like, you constantly have to, you like almost feel like you're harassing them because you're
Right.
like, chasing after them. Like, can you
Right.
send me this? Can you send me that?
Yeah.
But I also think communication is key, right? Like, I can go back to you and say, hey, so and so's not giving me these docs, and you'll reach out to them and say, hey, if you
What's
want to
going
see
on?
houses, you
Right.
got to give Dina these docs. So I think it's good in a lot of ways to have a relationship.
Sure.
Between lender and realtor,
Right.
because we can kind of like work in tandem together and
Absolutely.
get the job done.
Absolutely. It's so important. So with pre-approval, I think some buyers don't necessarily know the difference between pre-approval and mortgage commitment. So can you speak to the pre-approval versus the mortgage commitment, and what changes from the time of pre-approval to the time where we get an offer accepted, and now we go through the whole process to try to get to closing, but the pre-approval obviously is not a commitment. So
Right. Yeah, the pre-approval is just kind of like me looking at your docs, your application, and saying, hey, this is what you qualify for. And the commitment is kind of a more in-depth look by the underwriter. The underwriter has specific programs that they can run and look at to make sure, like, sometimes buyers will... I've had buyers before that have had like a foreclosure like in the past, but didn't think to mention it, or didn't want to mention it, but didn't think it was going to be an issue because it was like already taken care of.
Okay.
And the underwriter, through their programs that they run, can determine if there was a past foreclosure, whereas sometimes the credit report doesn't
show that.
Doesn't show that.
Okay.
So they have like these programs, and they do a deeper dive of the buyer to make sure they're qualified.
Okay. Would you recommend that buyers, if they know that there's something like that in the past, in that pre-approval process, mention it?
Yeah, it's always good. Yeah, like a lot of people think that it shows up in certain events, credit events show up in your credit report, but not always. They don't always do that. So it's always good to let your lender know like everything.
Everything.
And in our application though, it does ask, do you have a previous foreclosure, bankruptcy? And sometimes people
Might think, oh, it was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago, but it might not affect your ability to get a mortgage, but it is something we need to know about.
Got it. Okay.